Every day this proxy battle in Ukraine continues, we risk global war. We must be absolutely clear that our objective is to immediately have a total cessation of hostilities. There must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We have to put America first.
During the last election cycle, people often ask me, why are you voting for Trump? Why should I vote for Trump? What are the reasons? And my answer was always the same short answer: World War III. Now, we could talk about the economy, immigration, crime, and safety, all legitimately extremely important issues. But if we are all dead, wiped out in a nuclear holocaust, it won't matter. You can have all the money, greatest economy in the world, but if World War III really pops off, not going to matter. Now, we got a bloodthirsty neocon we're going to talk about today. A bloodthirsty neocon on Fox News, this anchor. She's just a representation of the neocons as a whole, how they think, the mindset, and of course these left-wing war hawks who sit in safety in cush offices and mansions and stuff like that. They would never go out themselves and fight, but they want to push for endless wars all over the world. And they're getting so brazen that they are trying to push the United States into a war with Russia, not believing that a nuclear holocaust will actually happen. These neocons want to fight to the last Ukrainian. We already know what's going on in Ukraine. It's a lost cause. The United States has failed in this proxy war. This thing should have been ended over 2 years ago. But here we are, over 1,000 days in. And Biden just gave these neocons a gift. He got them excited. He gifted the military-industrial complex by authorizing yet another system, another fancy system for the Ukrainians to use. Let's take a look.
Vladimir Putin has a new warning for the United States after President Biden authorized Ukraine to use long-range missiles supplied by the U.S. to strike inside Russia.
Nuclear saber rattling from the Kremlin this morning, with Vladimir Putin appearing to threaten to use nuclear weapons if Ukraine fires American-made missiles into Russia.
This is a poison pill. This is the Biden administration, Biden's handlers salty about what happened in the election, and now they're trying to sabotage Trump before he even starts, because we all know Trump is going to move for a quick de-escalation of this war, try to get some type of peace deal happening soon, even though it might not be completely favorable to the United States and to Ukraine. He's trying to get some type of quick deal. But by Biden escalating things quickly, he wants to sabotage Trump. There's no reason at all for the United States to be authorizing long-range weapons, ATACMS, stuff like that, because first of all, they're not even going to work. We had other weapons. We had other systems. We had the Stingers. We had the Bradleys. We had the Abrams tanks, the F-16. The list goes on and on and on about all of these game-changing systems that the United States has sent to Ukraine. And in a bigger picture, none of it has helped. You get quick headlines, maybe a couple of days or a week worth of hype and headlines. Oh, look at the F-16s flying. Look at the Stingers shooting down helicopters. But in the bigger picture, they have done nothing to help Ukraine win this war. But here we are again. The military-industrial complex is about to get billions of more dollars because now we got the ATACMS. The United States is going to be producing as much as it can per month. And, of course, printing money and sending it over to the military-industrial complex. All the while, more Ukrainians die. So let's look at Donald Trump Jr. Let's see what he said about this. The military-industrial complex seems to want to make sure they get World War III going before my father has a chance to create peace and save lives. Gotta lock in those trillions. Life be damned. Imbeciles. Exactly. These fools don't care about anything but money. Hundreds of thousands of dead Ukrainians, they don't give a flying fuck about what's going on with these Ukrainians. As long as they get paid, even if there's a World War III, I'm pretty sure they got bunkers and all of that. They don't give a damn. All these dudes care about is money. One of the major problems with the ATACMS is that it's basically the United States attacking Russia. There's barely any Ukrainian involvement because of the top secrecy, the satellites, the strike packages creation, all of that. That's a different video getting into all of that. But to use these systems against any opponent, it requires U.S. personnel to do it. U.S. personnel will do 99% of the work. Ukraine will do 1% of the work and attacking into Russia. Putin has a problem with this because he knows, he's made statements. His inner circle, they've all made statements about knowing that this is the United States. This is not Ukraine. This is the United States making attacks into Russia. But it's saber rattling Putin would never do anything like this. We've seen people say stuff like, I'm more afraid of a zombie apocalypse than a nuclear war. This will never happen. Putin would never do it. He's a dictator. Dictators don't want to die. He would never, ever, ever, ever start a world war using nuclear weapons. Therefore, we can do whatever we want to them. We can send drones. We can send missiles. We can have U.S. personnel on the ground. We can do whatever we want to Russia because Putin does nothing but bluffs. So let's get into this Fox News interview right here with this neocon, this Army officer. We have a retired lieutenant colonel who's going to give her the facts on the ground, the reality of what's actually going on, not this propaganda, not everything she's been told. Oh, Russia is trash, Russia is weak, Putin is bluffing, stuff like that. That's what they've been told and that's what they believe. So when you have a common sense military officer who knows about this stuff saying something opposite, they don't know how to react to it. So Fox News immediately regretted inviting this guy on. Let's take a look at the first piece.
So how does allowing Ukraine to strike Russia with U.S. supplied weapons change the Ukraine-Russia war?
Well, Arthel is probably going to enrage Putin, which of course is problematic. Keep in mind, the intelligence community, according to the New York Times, recently said that Ukraine is losing the war. Now, we know that Zelensky, as you just reported, has come to the United States weeks ago with a victory plan. And allegedly, when he met with President Biden, he made it very clear that using ATACMS and other long-range missiles, such as what the French and the UK just released, will be helpful. Now, unfortunately, it's a possibility that this could likely broaden the war. Now, keep in mind, the Chinese are allegedly providing lethal aid now to Russia. The Iranians have, and of course, as you just reported, the North Koreans have sent upward to 10,000 troops to Russia, allegedly that are going to be in the eastern provinces helping in the fight against Kursk. So you have a host of issues here. Allowing them to use HIMARS ATACMS that can reach 188 miles inside of Russia could be incredibly problematic.
This man just laid out reality for her. He laid it out pretty cleanly, pretty easy to understand, but she doesn't want to hear that. She's still delusional, thinking that yet another system, the ATACMS, is actually going to turn the tides for Ukraine and hurt Russia.
Well, also, here's another question. Is there enough time for Ukraine to take advantage of these long-range missiles in the next 64 days, enough to put Russia and the North Koreans on their heels?
Unlikely. ATACMS are not going to make a major difference, quite frankly. What it will do is put Mr. Trump, as he assumes the presidency, in a much worse situation.
Bingo. This was designed to sabotage Trump's peace plans. So when this thing inevitably falls apart, when Ukraine inevitably surrenders, the neocons and the libs, they're going to blame Trump. They're going to say, see, when Biden was in, we were printing all this money and Ukraine was winning. But now Trump is in and Ukraine has to surrender. Things are going bad. The money's drying up. Therefore, the only reason why Putin bad, the only reason why Putin won is because of Trump. Because Trump and Putin are in bed together. And Trump came in because he wants to be a dictator like Putin. And he helped Putin win. They're going to blame everything when this thing collapses. They're going to blame it on Trump. This was just a poison pill set by Biden and his handlers. Speaking of Biden and his handlers, they had big plans. They had these grandiose plans. We're going to sanction Russia. We're going to do all this and then we're going to force the Europeans to join us. And we're going to destroy Russia from the inside. We're going to make their economy collapse and they're going to throw Putin out and we're going to go in and dig up all their resources and take them. Completely backfired. So all those sanctions actually devastated Europe. I mean, prices are skyrocketed over there and it put the United States into deeper debt. At the same time, Russia got stronger economically because now it's cut off from Europe and it's operating more independently and with China and India. And Russia has also gotten stronger militarily by cleaning up a lot of the corruption, growing their military, making their systems more efficient, and by learning how to counter U.S. systems. So, horrible idea. Completely backfired. All of these anti-Russian moves that the United States has been pulling under Joe Biden has completely backfired. Crazy. But this host, she still doesn't want to listen. She's just another bloodlusting neocon. And like I said, she's a representation of all of these neocons we have around here.
Mr. Biden, in fact, thought that the war in Ukraine was going to bolster our industrial base. It didn't. And he also was hoping that it would degrade the Russian military. Unfortunately, what Vladimir Putin has done is upgrade his industrial base to produce more munitions. And he is, just increasing his selective service to bring more people into the ranks, to include, of course, the North Koreans. So you have the makings of a much broader war. So we need to be incredibly careful here about allowing Zelensky's so-called victory plan to go forward in a way that could just rob us all of our future freedoms.
Well, okay. You said that Putin's reaction has already been to increase his forces. Well, he's taking North Korean forces, so he's not that impressive. So his military is wounded by the smaller, mightier Ukraine. That said, listen, as we said, in 64 days.
So these are the type of people who talk a lot of crap, sit at desks, but would never go out and fight themselves. Notice how she tried to quickly dismiss everything this man said, and then hype Ukraine up. Oh, the mighty Ukrainians. Then she quickly tried to change the subject, talking about Trump cabinet picks. But the conversation got back to Putin, and we're just going to look at this last piece just to see. You can't get through with these neocons, man. You can't reason with them with common sense, because all they care about is blood money from wars.
Putin has made very clear is he's not going to give away anything. And in fact, over the last few weeks, he's redefined his own nuclear doctrine in such a way that he says very explicitly that a joint attack by a non-nuclear state such as Ukraine, backed by a nuclear state such as the United States, will in fact allow him, if he so decides, to use tactical nuclear weapons. He's not going to do that. I don't think
he won't.
He's going to do that.
You know that, Colonel. He's not going to.
But
so let me.
Arrogant neocons, man. There's not much I can say. I'm going to leave you with this.
Our foreign policy establishment keeps trying to pull the world into conflict with a nuclear-armed Russia based on the lie that Russia represents our greatest threat. But the greatest threat to Western civilization today is not Russia. It's probably, more than anything else, ourselves and some of the horrible USA-hating people that represent us. We have never been closer to World War III than we are today under Joe Biden. A global conflict between nuclear-armed powers would mean death and destruction on a scale unmatched in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon.